Welcome to our video on installing Lakka OS on the PSPi version 6. So just a quick editor's note, this process was long, and the more I did it, the more I realized it was going to be frustrating for people. So it's inspired me to compile my own custom version of Lakka for the PSPi version 6. So like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification if you want to get an update for when that video goes live. So currently, to get Lakka installed for the PSPi version 6, you'll need a couple of things. As far as hardware goes, you're going to obviously need PSPi version 6. Following all of my other videos up until now will get you to the point we are now. You'll need a Raspberry Pi and an SD card that you plan on having Lakka and all your ROMs on. In addition to that, you'll also need an SD card reader. Most SD cards, micro SD cards, come with a regular SD card adapter, and a lot of laptops have a way to read one of those, but if not, you'll need something that turns it into USB. Doesn't have to be fancy, literally any cheap crap will do. The only other thing you'll need is a USB micro B to female A adapter. You only need this for a couple of minutes, just long enough to connect to Wi-Fi and turn on SSH. I am working on a way that you don't need to do that anymore, but for the time being you will need something like it. And then as far as software goes, you will need the Raspberry Pi imager. You'll need FileZilla or some other FTP client. And you'll need Putty or some other SSH client. I'll leave links in the description for all of this stuff. So the first step, we're going to go to the Raspberry Pi imager, and we're going to select our image. So we're going to go to Emulation and Game OS. We're going to go to Lakka, and then select your Pi. If you're using a Raspberry Pi 2, don't use this 64-bit image. Instead, use the Pi 2, Pi 3 32-bit image. If you're using the Pi 0, you can just use this standard image. I'm on a Pi 2. I'm going to grab that one and choose storage. I have my SD card already connected to my computer, so I'm going to select that. And then I'm going to select write. Yes, I'm sure I want everything to be erased. And we're going to let that write. While that's writing, we are going to go to the link tree for Othermod, which will also be linked in the description. From here, we're going to go to the GitHub, PSPi version 6, and then we're going to go to Issues. And current state of Lakka. This is an issue post that I put in to kind of give you the idea of what works, what doesn't, and what you need to do. If you don't want to watch this video, you can follow these steps. However, I'd really rather you watch this video. From here, what we're going to need is the Lakka 0, 1, or 2.zip. Click on that. It's going to download. Once it's done, I'm going to go to our download folder, right click, extract all, and now it's extracted. So you'll see in here, we've got a config file, the distro config file, PSPi 02. This also works with the Raspberry 01. Also got your drivers folder, your overlays folder, which this takes care of your audio, and config. This will get everything booting on startup. Now that we have all those, we just wait for the Raspberry imager to finish. that's finished. We're going to click on OK, and we can close the imager. And we're going to go to the File Explorer. Now the imager automatically ejects the SD card once it's done, so we're going to unplug it, plug it back in, and you'll see Lakka pop up here. We want to go into it, and then flip over to those files we downloaded and extracted before, and we're going to copy overlays and all 3 text files. We're going to copy, go over the SD card, and we're going to paste. It's going to ask you if you want to replace the files in the destination. We want to say yes. And now our 4 files are in there. Now we can go back here, and we're going to eject the card. Your next step is done over on the PSP. Now that we're over on the PSP, we're going to take the SD card out of here, plug it into here, slap this guy in there, put the cover on. Now with the cover on and still open, attach this to those ports, and plug in our USB adapter. In my case it's an old dock that I had laying around for an old smartphone. You want to plug it in to the second port there. Just like that. And flip it around and turn it on. You don't need a mouse for this process, just a keyboard, so single port is perfectly acceptable. Now the screen comes on very, very dim. First thing you'll see is that it's expanding its file system. The screen does come on very, very dim. You can still use the screen brightness button. You won't have any of your overlay or any of the on-screen display yet, but that button still does work. Now we're booted into live. And we go into settings. Go into services first, turn on SSH, and hit the backspace button, go to Wi-Fi, connect to a network, and it's going to do a scan. I don't know why, but it always says failed. Go back, and go back in. Back to here, it'll rescan, and you'll see that it shows that it's online. And we're going to go into here. Under information, network information, we're going to look for your current IP. In this case, 11.11.11.142. And using that, we're going to leave everything as is and head back over to the computer. Now back on our computer, we're going to go over to FileZilla and type in the IP address. Username is root, password is root, and port is 22. And click connect. There we go. So it defaults us to the storage location, which is fine for now. Now you want to go to your downloads folder to where we extracted those files. And we're going to go all the way in. We're going to copy the drivers folder to storage. And then we're also going to copy this .config to storage. And if you get any errors saying something's already there, you're going to want to overwrite. So inside this config folder is our auto start file. So it tells our main and OSD and gamepad drivers to launch on startup. Alright. That's it for this. So we can close out of this. And we're going to go to Putty now. And same thing here. We're 11.11.11.142 and open. And once the connection opens, we log in as root. Oops. The password is also root. It won't show that you're typing, but you actually are typing, and then hit enter. And we're in Lakka. So the first thing you want to do is cd drivers. And I always do an ls. I want to see that my files are in there. They are. So we're going to go chmod plus x OSD main and gamepad. And then ls again. And you'll see they've all changed to green. And that's it. So now we're going to reboot. Oh, no. Alright then, we're going to walk over to the PSP and restart it that way. I can't remember what the command is. You'll see during boot up, battery icon has showed up top. I missed it there, but it also says that the gamepad is not configured, which means that the gamepad is detected. We've also got brightness selector now, and things like the mute switcher now working. And with this newest version of the driver, when we use this bottom switch here, put it into low power mode. It's not the easiest to see. Put the back on and off. There's a blue border that shows up around the battery, with the white border turns to a blue border. So, now to configure our gamepad. To do that, we're going to go into settings, go into input, go all the way down to control player 1 or port 1 controls, and set all controls. And it's going to prompt each control on the screen and give you 5 seconds to input it. If you don't input it in 5 seconds, it will just skip it to the next one. So I'm going to start it now and show you what it looks like, but I'm not going to be fast enough while I'm recording to do it, so I'm going to quickly do it off camera. I'll show you what it looks like first. So I'll cycle through all of the different things that it can do. Some of the things the PSP can't do. So like it's going to ask for the button like R3 and L3, which we don't have. It's going to ask for right analog stick, up, down, left, right, which we don't have. It's going to ask for L2 and R2, which we don't have, but we have most of the other stuff. So I'm going to stop this and I'm going to quickly program it. Alright, so now all the controls are programmed. By default, the controls for accept and back are reversed in pretty much every iteration of VirtualArch that I've seen. So to go back out of this, I'm going to hit X and X. And it brings us here. So now we're on blank Lakka with nothing on it. Next we're going to pop over the computer and transfer a couple of games. Alright, so our last step here, I'm going to go to the top Explorer window. Mine's cut off apparently. 1 second here. And we're going to go // and then type in your IP. And you're going to go into ROMs. There's a downloads folder here. I'm not actually sure what goes in that. I don't use it. I'm going to flip over to my collection of ROMs. And let's grab... I'm not going to grab all my PSX, so let's go and grab my, where are we, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advanced, Genesis, and NES. Where's my Super NES? Right there. I'm going to copy those ones over. It's 1.9 gig, so that'll take a bit. And then I'm going to copy there's my PSX, there it is. And I'm going to copy just CTR. A new folder in here. PSX. And there we go. Go into that folder. I'm going to paste the Crash Team Racing in here. This process is going to take a while, so I'll pop back when it's done. And now we're on to the last two steps. So we're going to go to the plus sign, we're going to scan directory, and then we're going to scan this directory. So if you only added games in, let's say, GBA, then you can go into it and only scan that one. But in this case, we're going to scan everything that we just placed into it. See the progress bar at the bottom there. And it's got 985 games that it's going to scan. So this is going to take some time, and I'll pop back when it's done and show you what it looks like after, and what our last step is. Now that part's done, I'm going to go back, and we can see all of our games are now pulled into here. The last step we're going to do is to grab all the box and cover art. We're going to go to, whoops, past it, Online Updater. And then with Playlist Thumbnail Updater. In this case, you have to go through them one by one, but you can do them pretty much all at the same time. You can trigger that one, That one. What this is going to do is it's going to go through each of those folders and download all the box art for them. You can see that they've already started coming in. So I'm going to let that finished, and then we'll boot up a game. That's pretty much it for Lakka. So now that all that's done, see it, we've got all of our thumbnails in. It would be a good idea to either shut down or restart, because RetroArch does not save its config until it shuts down or restarts. Do that now. If you don't do this and Lakka crashes for some reason, you're going to have to reset up your gamepad all over again. We're back in. Oh, actually, there was one more I forgot to do. We're going to go back in the input. And we're going to find, there it is, hotkeys. Now, you can set up the hotkey as home button, but the home button when pressed for 2 seconds quits RetroArch. So I would recommend instead is to set up controller combos for menu toggle and for quit. So I normally go menu toggle for down and select, to toggle the menu, and then for quit I do start and select. Those are not defaults, I just happened to already change mine. And then you'd want to restart again to make sure that's backed up. Now, I'm going to fire a game. When you go to fire a game for the first time, it'll ask you what core to use. In this case, this is the PlayStation core I have the most luck with. Now it says it's core set, we just click run. And with that, we don't necessarily want to get a claim, and I will not be running this for very long. There we go. And then, like I said before, down and select, pull up the menu. And start and select. And click content. And that's it. And that's all that's required to install Lakka on the PSPi version 6. Thanks for watching. Till next time, remember, it doesn't matter if you make or break, as long as you're having fun.